Assalamualaikum, Mr. Daya. My name is Siti Shamira and I'll be presenting on the critical review of the first article, which is Impacts of Risk-Based Capital Regulation in Malaysian Islamic Insurers, or known as Takaful. The authors of this paper is Huishan Lee, Fan Fei Cheng, Anwar Muhammad Nasir, and Nazul Hisham Abdul Razak. And this paper was published on 15 August 2019. Now, let's look into the abstract. The abstract for this paper is Risk-Based Capital Framework for Takaful Operators, or known as RBCT, is enforced by Central Bank of Malaysia with the aim to ensure that the Takaful operators have adequate capital to provide some financial service. The abstract also has highlighted the implications, findings, and also the methodology of the paper. It also has stated that once RBCT came into effect, the cost efficiency has achieved a higher efficient level as for its findings. Towards going on to the problem, for the problem statement is thus risk-based capital regulation improves the efficiency, productivity, and competitiveness of Islamic insurance. This is found in the introduction section of the paper with closed captions. This problem is very much important to Takaful insurers for them to know the impact of RBCT towards their firm. Moving on to the purpose, there are three purposes, which is identifying the performance of family Takaful operators, or FTO, by constructing efficiency, productivity, and competitiveness measure. Moving on to evaluate the impacts of RBCT towards FTO, whether it has improved the efficiency, productivity, and competitiveness of the FTO. And lastly is to investigate the relationship between the efficiency and also the competitiveness of the FTO. Let's move on to the hypothesis. There are four hypotheses. The first one is RBCT has a positive relationship with the efficiency of FTO. Second one is RBCT has a positive relationship with the productivity of FTO. And the third one is RBCT has a positive relationship with the competitiveness of FTO. And for the fourth hypothesis, it is the hypothesis for the Panzaros method, where it states that observed perfect and monopolistic competition require that firms are observed in long-run equilibrium. Next, we have the five key terms, which is Malmquist, Panzaros, risk-based capital, Islamic insurance, and Takaful. These five key terms will help potential readers to find this article on databases, journals, and also the internet more easily. Moving on to the literature review, the cited sources are relevant to the research. For example, Elling and Schapper, where they have investigated regulations of capital market development, competition on the productivity of efficiency of European life insurance. So this particular citation is very much related to the overall research context. Hence, most of the citation used are very relevant to the study. Moving on, the citation used are balanced. It is not too broad nor too narrow. And it is actually constructed in a way where the broader topic is discussed first, and then it will go into more in-depth analysis to a more narrower topic of the citation, another citation. So for example, they have cited Weiss and Choi in 2008, where they have stated that insurer will benefit from cost efficiency when they impose a lower price and gain profit if they are in a non-regulated insurance firm. And then they will narrow that down and do a more in-depth analysis of another citation, which is of Tone and Sahud at 2005, where they have stated that the relegation of life insurance have caused an inefficiency, and also higher competition has actually improved the cost efficiency. So showing that this is a broad, the broad topic is discussed first, and then it will narrow down to a narrower topic, which both citations is actually relevant to the study. Moving on, the citations are actually very recent. Most of them are 10 years within the range of the publication of the study, which is in 2019. However, all the references are used, but mostly are very new, which shows that they have updated and also accurate information. And lastly, the literature review is very unbiased, as they both use citations that is supportive and also contradictory to the study. Where this shows that the researchers have integrity, and also they have ethics in research, where they make sure that there is no bias in the literature review. Let's move on to the design and procedures. First, we have the research method, where it is the secondary data, where the firm levels data are taken from the annual reports of the FTO, and the macroeconomic variables are taken from the World Bank. The period of the data is taken from 2011 upwards to 2016. This type of study is an original study, whereby they have their original ideas, and also this study, as stated in the paper, has not been done before by any researchers, especially in the Takaful industry, meaning that this paper is one of the first papers to investigate the impacts of RBCT towards the Takaful industry. Hence, This is an original study as no one has done this particular study before as stated in the paper. Moreover, a pilot study has not been conducted because this is a secondary data, hence there is no need to find the feasibility and also the cost of this paper. Moving on, the structure of this paper has been segregated into 6 sections, which is introduction, background, literature review, methodology, analysis, and conclusion. And an acknowledgement section is also present as well. Moving on to the measurement tool, there are 3 measurement tools, which is the Data Environment Analysis, DEA, for efficiency, Malmquist Productivity Index, MPI, for productivity, and Penzaro-Rose method for the competitiveness. Moving on, the sample for this research study is 12 family takaful operators in Malaysia. The input variables are actually segregated into 2 parts. The first one is labor, debt capital, and equity capital, which is for DEA and MPI. Revenue, labor price, debt capital price, size, provision, outstanding claim, ownership, GDP growth, and inflation are for the Penzaro-Rose method. The output variable is net contribution income, net investment income, and claim losses, which is for the DEA. And the dependent variable for the Penzaro-Rose method is the efficiency, competitiveness, and also the productivity of the FTO. Next, let's look into the data analysis and presentation. First, for the data analysis, we will talk about DEA, which is to measure the efficiency of FTO. Using the input variables we discussed earlier, it interprets the cost efficiency, technical efficiency, and the allocative efficiency of the FTO. Moving on, for MPI, using the same variables as DEA, it will then interpret the technical efficiency change, technical change, the pure technical efficiency change, skill efficiency change, and the total factor productivity change. And the MPI will investigate the productivity of the FTO. And for the Penzaro-Rose method, they will start with the descriptive statistics where the data is transformed into average, mean, max, and standard deviation. And this data set will then be transferred into the Penzaro-Rose 4 Penzaro-Rose models, and then it will then be interpreted as the competitiveness for the FTO. This research is actually a quantitative research, meaning that all the data used and interpreted is in the numerical form, where all of the data used, which is secondary data, such as the firm level data and the macroeconomics variables data, and also the findings has been interpreted and is in numerical form. Moving on, the problem and the weakness of FTO has been clearly discussed, where the paper highlights that FTO needs to update their system to meet the minimum for capital requirement, as this is a problem, and to ensure the submission of the SCAR report is done to BMM and it is done periodically. And for the weakness, when there is a technological change, the FTO in Malaysia is still weak, where they are incapable of reducing the cost and simplifying their offerings to client, meaning that even if there is a technological investment in the takaful industry, many FTO are still struggling with their cost efficiency and are unable to have a better productivity despite the technological advancement. And lastly, the hypothesis is supported and also rejected through the findings. The hypothesis 1 and hypothesis 3 and 4 are actually supported and accepted, whereby it shows that there's a positive relationship with RBCT with efficiency and competitiveness of FTO. And also the fourth hypothesis for the Penzaro-Rose method was unable to be rejected by the Wald test, meaning it is accepted. However, the second hypothesis is actually rejected, meaning there is a negative relationship between the RBCT and also the productivity of the FTO. For the conclusion of this paper supports the original purpose, where they have discussed the 3 original purpose of the paper and supported with the findings. One of the findings suggests that although the productivity efficiency is improving, the technological system of FTO are yet to achieve a reasonable level. And prior to RBCT, the competitiveness of FTO is on the low side. Now it is increasing due to the RBCT. For the implications, regulator needs to impose prudent risk-based capital regulation because it will improve the efficiency and the competitiveness of the Islamic insurers. Moreover, the researcher has also stated that future studies should be conducted for them to have a more in-depth analysis. So future researchers can take this opportunity to learn more about how RBCT impact the takaful industry, and they also recommended that cross-country settings to fully understanding the impact of the RBCT towards the takaful industry. Moving on to the benefits, this paper will benefit the scholar, takaful insurers, and also policymakers in understanding the factors that affect the efficiency, productivity, and also competitiveness of the takaful industry. And also, takaful insurers can also take this paper to investigate the impacts and also to learn about the impacts of RBC towards their own firm. And lastly, for the recommendation, which was also clearly discussed, it was on how Takaful operators should take up and adopt technology like fintech, because in the findings, it has also stated that although technological improvement has been done in the Takaful industry, many Takaful operators are still on the low side for the cost efficiency and could not improve their productivity in the technology. That is all from me. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a nice day ahead.
Hello and Assalamualaikum. My name is Imran bin Muhammad and I'll be talking about Article 2. That is Financial Management Efficiency, Performance of Insurers and Takaful Operators in Malaysia by Yaakob, Yusuf Radam and Ismail. That was published in 2014. First of all is the abstract. This study is aimed to assess the financial management efficiency of each insurer and Takaful operators in both conventional and Takaful industry. The researcher also identified the operating system that is more efficient among the conventional and Takaful system, which involves 20 firms. This study also reveals that Takaful operators exhibit a relatively more efficient financial management in terms of risk management than other conventional insurers. However, it cannot be confirmed whether one type of operating system is better than the other system in terms of investment management, as the result is mixed. Moving on to the problem statement, for this particular research paper, the problem statement has been clearly stated. With the sophisticated and dynamic business environment, such as changes in interest rate, the rapid growth of competition among the other insurers in the industry, including Takaful operators and non-insurance institutions, and the risk of insolvency, financial management is becoming increasingly important. Thus, from this, we can know what is the researchers trying to solve. To note, this study is very important as it will bring an impact and insight which is beneficial to the insurers and Takaful operators as well to their clients, as they will recognize and improve on this problem. And moving on to the purpose of this study is to evaluate the financial management efficiency of Takaful insurers operators in both Takaful and conventional industry. And the other purpose of this study is to identify the operating system that is more efficient among the conventional and Takaful system. As the research is aiming to get the result for the financial management efficiency of both industry, which they can analyze and compare as to find which one is the better than the other. Moving on to the key terms. The key terms on this research paper is Takaful operators, conventional insurer, financial management, efficiency, slack-based measure or SBM, data environment analysis, DEA. This research, these keywords is important as it will help readers to identify what does the paper contains and also helps the paper to be discovered much more easier in the internet. Moving on to the hypothesis, in this research paper, it did not clarify the hypothesis, but we can deduce that the hypothesis is the risk management function has a significant relationship between the financial management efficiency performance of insurer and Takaful operators in Malaysia. And the other hypothesis is investment management function has a significant relationship between the financial management efficiency performance of insurers and Takaful operators in Malaysia. Moving on to the literature review, the citation that has been done by the researchers does correlate with the research study. And what have been read throughout the research paper, the citation made has been relevant to the topic in hand. For example, a citation from Kilhouse in the 2000s that states, using the methodology employed in the area of finance, financial management seeks decision concerning what and how much risk a company runs, how much capital is required to offset that risk-return relationship, and financially the quality and quantity of the company's investment. Hence, from this, the citations are relevant to the study. Moving on, the study in terms of citation, it is neither too broad or too narrow as the implications and concepts is generally understandable for readers as it covers the topic very well. The citation also supports the research title and context. Thus, readers can understand and grasp the concept and context of this study. Next, the reference in the study are relatively new because mostly from 10 years within the study. New references are better than the old references because they are more accurate and updated. Moreover, there is no bias literature review on literature review. Citation supports and disagree with the study. This shows that the researchers has integrity and ethics in the research. Moving to the design procedure, first of all is the research method. This study is the secondary data, and the data has been extracted from Takaful and Insurer Financial Report from the year 2003 until 2007, which is a cumulative of 5 years. The next one is type of study. This study is a replica study. Replica study as it has multiple references from past research done by a past researcher. Next one is research structure. It has 6. The first one is introduction. Next one is literature review, methodology, data, results, and last one is conclusion. As for the measurement tools, is SBMDEA, which is slide-based measure and data environment analysis. As for the pilot study, there is no pilot study in this research because they are using secondary data, which does not require a pilot data as it is already feasible for the researcher. As for the samples, it has a sample of 20 firms, which is 9 conventional composite insurer, 7 conventional life insurer, and 4 takaful operators. As for the input variables, there is 5, which is investment risk, underwriting risk, leverage, actuarial reserve, and last one is total investment asset. As for the output variables, there are 3, which is net incurred benefit plus reserve, solvency score, and profitability. Next is data analysis and presentation. As for the analysis method, the researcher analyzed the data by using a descriptive statistic method for the input and output variable. For the risk and investment management, for the 5 years data that have been collected by the researcher. Then the data have been brought to the SBMDA efficiency score test for the risk management function and investment management function, as to see multiple results such as average score, mid, max, and the percentage of the efficiency. From there, the SBMDA data is integrated into DMU, that is decision-making unit. The data also have been interpreted into a bar chart form for a clearer view of the results. Next, the research study is a quantitative research, as throughout this research study, it has been using secondary data and the company's financial report of takaful and insurer operator. As for the findings in this study does support the hypothesis of the risk and investment management function. Hence, the hypothesis has been accepted. Lastly, in these slides, problems and weaknesses. In this paper, the problem and weaknesses has been truly discussed. From the conclusion, it states that both takaful and insurer operators has a better performance in risk management aspects in comparison to investment management. Hence, there is inefficient on both functions, which was caused by the outputs and input dimensions. And the last one is conclusion. As for the conclusion for this research paper, the findings supports the original purpose, whereby the takaful operator exhibit more efficient risk management than conventional insurers. To note, also the average takaful and insurer operator has to improve by 20% if they want to perform the best in the financial practice. Moving on to the implication, this study is needed to be extended to a more detailed research as to determine a favorable operating system in order to enhance the financial management efficiency in the takaful and insurance industry by using a large data set specifically for the takaful operator group. Moving on to the benefits, from the finding, results, and conclusion that have been made by the researchers, it will bring insight to the insurance firm regarding inefficiency in investment and risk management. as identifying their weakness, therefore they can make improvement and bring solution to the problems. Also, this study will be a guide to future research study. And last one is recommendation. From the research that the researcher had done, they have come some solution on how to overcome this inefficiency problem. That is, increase the operational performance, that is the efficiency of the process, such as cycle time or productivity. And next one is merge with insurer firms that is more efficient, as they have the advantage and could acquire it more to merging. And that is for me. Thank you very much.